name's Tiffany and this is my channel, Who's Your Handmade. Thank you so much for stopping by today. In today's video, we have part 2 of my 2022 year in review. This is the video about what I didn't love. If that sounds interesting to you, stick around. So as I said, today's video is part 2 of this series. Part 1 was last week, last Tuesday. I will try to link that up above for you and down in the description box. Please do go check out that video. That video was all about what I loved out of my 2022 makes. So please do go check that out if you have not done so already. Today we're talking about what I didn't love. Now, last week I gave a little disclaimer that I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to push that out into the sewing community. I'm just trying to be honest. I'm trying to be honest with myself. I'm trying to take a real honest look at my 2022 makes and the history and see what I have learned from what I made. So we're going to go through these. There are pattern issues, there are fabric issues, there are fitting issues, there are all kinds of issues as to why these didn't work out for me, and I'm going to hit those really quick. But this does not mean that just because a pattern or a fabric or a technique didn't work for me, that it's definitely not going to work for you. So if you like that pattern, if you like that fabric, give it a try it out for yourself, see if your experience is different. Please do not let me influence you to not try that out just because I had a bad experience. Like I said, I'm trying to learn on my sewing journey here from my past experiences to make myself overall a better seamstress and make my makes work out better for myself. So let's dive right in. Like I said last week, I have made 30 items for myself in 2022, and out of those, I loved 18. But on the flip side, I did not like 11. So I have 9 different kinds of garments that I'm going to share with you today. There was one instance where I made 3 of the same one, so that bumped me up to my number of 11. So I'm going to go over those real quick. I'm not going to try to take a lot of time with them. I've done reviews on some of these in my videos, so if you're interested in learning more, you can go back through my video list. So let's get started with number 1. Some of these I have pictures for and some of them I do not. Some of them I don't even have the garment anymore. There's at least one of these that I have given away just because I really did not like it that much. So on some of these I'll have a picture to pop in. Some of them I'll just show a picture of the pattern itself, and then others I have hanging here in my sewing room and I'll go and grab to show you. So the first one that we're going to talk about is a toaster sweater. What? Why did this land on my I didn't really like it list? So the toaster sweater that I made in January of 2022, this is my second version, and I used the wrong kind of fabric, you guys. This has nothing to do with the pattern. Y'all know that I love the toaster sweater pattern. It was just a bad fabric choice. I'm gonna pop a picture in. Scoot over. Pop pictures in. I did love this fabric. I saw it in Joann's, found it in their clearance section. It is a wonderful sweater knit. However, it's not so much of a knit. It's deceptive. You see it in the store and you kind of give it a stretch and you think, oh yes, that would make a lovely sweater. Well, come to find out, it wasn't stretchy enough. So really, this garment is just too tight on me. I cannot wear it. Actually, I can wear it, it's just not comfortable. It's not comfortable like my other toaster sweaters. So I have made a size extra large like I normally do in my toaster sweaters. And this was my second version, so I had lengthened it by 1 inch, which I have done now for my second and third one. And that was a great choice. I needed to lengthen this toaster sweater, but that fabric just did not work out for me. So that's how that one landed on this list. Number 2, now this one, it was kind of like an all-around did not like this pattern, I really did not like this fabric. So this one is the Chapman Cardigan by Ellie & Mac. This is probably the first pattern that you have heard me talk in a negative connotation for concerning an Ellie & Mac pattern, because they're so wonderful and I do love them. But this Chapman Cardigan was not impressive. I did not like how it went together. I didn't like how they did the bands around the sides, and this is actually the garment that I don't have anymore. I made it and I could not stand it to be in my house. That's how much I didn't like it. So I gave it to my mother. It's quite big on my mother, but she likes to wear roomy kind of garment. So I gave it to her for her to use, and she does have it. So I'll see if I have a picture of the actual garment to pop in, but I do have some of this fabric, and I want to talk to you about this fabric for a second. This was the most deceptive fabric that I think I have ever bought online. It was called a cable knit from Olga's Closet. This was my first order from Olga's Closet, and I was super excited because I was excited about the fabric, and this fabric threw me for a loop. I love cable knit, but what I thought I was getting was the cable knit that I actually used in my latest toaster sweater pattern, the pink cable knit that I've used. And that is not what I got from Olga's Closet. Let me just show you the fabric. Beautiful color. Absolutely a gorgeous color. It is like a deep mint. Love it. But this fabric, you guys, is so annoying. Do you see how sheer, kind of like mesh? It is, okay, my opinion, it is horrible fabric. I don't really know what it is in actuality. She called it a cable knit. I'm sure it can make, you know, cardigans and stuff, but I was super disappointed with that fabric. I was disappointed with how thin it was, how sheer it was, and so I decided to make a cardigan with it. When I see that fabric, I automatically thought cardigan, so that's why I went to the Chapman Cardigan pattern. And the combination of that fabric that I really did not like, and then the pattern that did not live up to my expectations, definitely landed it on a spot on this list. It was just so hard to sew with, even with my walking foot and the appropriate needle. No, nope, not again. So I was glad to move that one on. So I made a size 2XL like I normally do in all Ellie & Mac patterns. I finished that one on 2/5 of 2022. Next up is a free pattern. So if you've been around the sewing community very much, you might know of the #SewFrugal challenge, where you're supposed to use a free pattern and then fabric from your stash. So I wanted to take part in that in 2022. And so I pursued the Peppermint Magazine pocket skirt. Now, the problem with this make was definitely just the design on my figure. The pattern itself is really fun. Peppermint Magazine did a really good job with this free pattern. It's fun. The pattern pieces are quirky. They go together in a really fun way. So I'm not saying anything bad about that pattern at all. It is really cute, really fun to put together. However, I made 3 of these skirts in a pursuit to find a size that looked good on my body. Bottom line, none of them did. Let me just read to you what sizes I tried. I tried sizes 24, 22, and 20, and none of them left me feeling like this skirt was the one. So I have a picture of my final version that I did submit for #SewFrugal, but I haven't worn that. I have not picked up that skirt since, and these are definitely a make that I did not love. They just don't look good on my body. They're too flowy. That elastic just does not look good at my waist, and yeah. Unfortunately, that did not work out for me. It wasn't a fabric issue. It wasn't a pattern issue. It was just a design issue on my body itself. So I finished that last one on 3/13 of 2022, and yeah, those are gonna need to move on because they're not gonna get anywhere in my closet. The next one was another free pattern that I had found during all the videos, the fun videos that were going up during #SoFrugal. This pattern popped out to me in someone's video. It was the Fabrics-Store Donna Dress. So they have a ton of free patterns on that Fabrics-Store.com, I think is what it's called. I'll link it down below. And this Donna dress just caught my eye, but alas, it just does not look good on me. It's another kind of like the pocket skirt. The design just doesn't look very good on me, and I for sure chose the wrong fabric for this dress. It's actually a pretty design. The dress is actually a pretty design. It has some rolled cuffs to the sleeve. It has a keyhole in the back. It has a elasticized waist to cinch it in. But that fabric that I chose was a rayon linen blend from Amazon.com, fabric.com that you can find on Amazon. And really, the fabric is very pretty, but the fabric plus this dress design makes me look like I'm some kind of inmate or I'm in some colony or something. Let me grab the dress and just show you what I mean. Hold on. So here is that Donna dress. So I made it in this rayon linen that is this kind of pretty heathered kind of burgundy color. Very pretty fabric, really wrinkled. Sorry about that, it's been hanging in my closet. It just does not look good. Let me back up a little bit so that you can see the waist. Do you see how boxy? Even though it has that waist there, it's just, do you see what I mean by, colony wear or inmate or, oh, you guys, just not a great combination, not something that I want to wear really. So I finished the Donna dress on April 24th of 2022. I made a size 12-14, so that was really interesting. An interesting part of this pattern is that the sizing, I guess because it's such a roomy, boxy pattern, the sizing is crazy. I never make a 12-14 in any kind of pattern that I make, so it was really strange sizing. So if you like this Donna dress and you want to try it for yourself, just be mindful of what that sizing is. Look at the finished garment measurements. I'm pretty sure they provided those. Make sure you take into account that crazy sizing. The pattern itself was okay. It's a free pattern. In my experience, not to throw shade on any kind of free pattern, but in my experience, you get what you pay for. Honestly, I've probably said that a lot on my channel, and I really feel like you really do get what you pay for with a lot of these free patterns. So be prepared to fill in some blanks, be prepared to kind of have to Google some techniques or something, and just keep that in mind with a free pattern. Moving on is a skirt. So I have put on here the 5 out of 4 shenanigans skirt. And actually, this is not really an issue with the pattern itself. It's a great pattern. It's a fun pattern to sew together. They actually have a gusset piece to this skirt that makes this pattern superb. That gusset piece made all the difference in helping me get closer to a well-fitting skirt, which has kind of been my unicorn project ever since I started sewing, and it just still did not happen again. I put this skirt on this list because it still does not fit me very good, and I really do not find myself reaching for that garment. So even though it was a great pattern, I have to lengthen, inevitably, I have to lengthen any skirt pattern that I buy. I am trying to go for a more modest skirt, so I want something more knee length or right below the knee, and then I want, well-fitting shorts underneath it. So it's really, like I said, it's a unicorn. You can find those neat kind of like tennis length skirts that are more athletic, and that is kind of what I found out there, and then I have to lengthen them, and lengthening the skirt itself is not a problem. It's when I go to lengthen those shorts underneath that I run into trouble. So for that reason, I have marked this one on my list. I do have my version here with me. Let me show you. This is the skirt itself. Still, I still have not lengthened this one enough. It has little shorts up underneath it. There's the gusset piece that I was talking about there. The pattern piece comes as one for these shorts, and it's my goal to get better at being able to lengthen those one-piece short patterns without making it really, really cave in on the rest of my leg. So yeah, just not successful, and that's why it ended up on this list. I made a size 3XL skirt and 5XL shorts. I was trying to just bump up the size up underneath to see if that would give me more length and more room. No. I have curves, and this skirt pattern just is not made for those curves. I find the back of my whole outfit wanting to pull down because of my tush. Like, let's just be honest, that's what it is. And so I really need to make some adjustments to those shorts that I have not yet perfected. So that is the 5 out of 4 Shenanigans skirt. Moving on, the next pattern is the, I'm gonna get this pattern company's name wrong. I'm gonna apologize in advance. Atelier Scummit? I'm not real sure how to pronounce it. It is a French pattern company. Her patterns come in French and then they are translated to English. And this dress, it is called the Astrid Dress. I'll pop a picture of what the Astrid Dress looks like. Beautiful pattern. She has a lot of beautiful patterns. I won 2 patterns from her company from a challenge that I did this year. And this Astrid Dress was one of the ones that I chose. I wanted to sew this Astrid Dress up for our July vacation to the beach. I thought it would be a really pretty flowy kind of dress to have with me there at the beach. And in theory, it would have been. There was a lot going on with this pattern that really just added up to why it landed on this list. Number one, the pattern is in French and then it's translated to English. So for me, as a beginning, I would call myself an advanced beginner. You know, I'm not super advanced. I'm not intermediate really with my sewing. So I'm still learning all these processes, and to throw a language barrier into a pattern that has a lot of different aspects it's a big deal for me. So she would show you some techniques and even link you to a video on YouTube, but it's all in French. So she's speaking in the video in French. So that language barrier for me on this pattern was a really big hindrance. And it really is. It turned out to be a pretty dress. But my next issue, and this was a huge one, I used the wrong kind of fabric. It is a woven, but it's a crinkle crepe from Joann's. Cheap kind of fabric, and it really was okay to sew with, but it tends to grow. And so your garment just kind of warps out of shape as you wear it, and then as I washed it, and it's really kind of falling apart. So this dress has a really pretty square neckline. Never done any kind of square necklines before. I was excited to give this one a try. Note to self, next time a French pattern is probably not the way to learn how to do a squared neckline. Again, tutorials were in French. She gave you some pretty good instructions in her pattern itself, but not enough to help me know how to get sharp points on my bias binding. I don't want to put her pattern company in too much bad lighting. Obviously, beautiful patterns, and if you are an advanced sewist or intermediate sewist, or if you've done a lot of these techniques, you probably wouldn't have any issues with it. But where I was in my sewing journey, on top of that, fabric just didn't really make for a very good outcome. I do indeed have that dress here in my sewing room, so let me grab that and I'll just show it to you real quick. So let me just show you real quick about some examples of how this fabric is not holding up. So you can kind of see there the ties, the pretty ties that go along the back V, fraying and really just disintegrating. Yeah, guys, that's real. That's happening with one washing. I've literally only washed this one time. And it's just kind of warping out of shape. So it's a black crepe again from Joann's. and it's just not very pretty. The back is a V. It's got some really pretty design lines, this pattern does. The front is the square. Didn't do, I mean, for my first attempt, I didn't think I did too bad on that square neckline, but there was a lot to be, I was wanting. There was a lot left wanting. So that is my experience with the Astrid Dress. I sewed that one up in June of 2022. I made a size 20 on that one. Honestly, I think if I could figure out some of those techniques and find me an actually nice fabric, I think that dress would be really pretty. So maybe one day I will revisit that pattern. Next up is another really pretty dress, great pattern, beautiful fabric that just didn't look good on me. Now these I really didn't choose the best pictures to show you, because these pictures are some of our family vacation pictures that we took, so they're staged. I mean, we were technically posing. We were doing these kinds of poses on purpose for our family photos. So they really don't look that bad. When I look back through them, the dress doesn't look that bad. But this dress that I'm talking about is the Toronto Day Dress from Rebecca Page, my first Rebecca Page pattern that I've ever made. As I said, instructions and pattern were wonderful. She walks you through absolutely every single step, and it's really a really fun make. The top bodice is lined, and then you have all these beautiful layers. So what was my issue with this pattern? Or this whole make, why did this land on my didn't love list? It landed there because this design just doesn't look that great on me. So your bodice only came to about here. It was more like a yoke. It didn't even come down, you know, into a bodice, and then started your layers. So you had this lined yoke here, and then just started those billowy layers, and then you just got bigger and bigger and bigger. So you really had no definition in your bodice area, and I like to have some definition. If you've seen me, and if you've watched any of my videos, you probably have, you've seen me in my staycation dresses, and that has some billowy layers, but I have a nice fitted bodice that can, you know, show more of my shape and kind of make me look a little more fitted up in the top. This Rebecca Page pattern just does not do that. It starts billowing way too high up on my figure. And that piece is a little bit hard to tell from just buying the pattern, looking at pictures on their website. It's hard to tell if those billows do start up that way, but I don't know. I live and I learn. The fabric is a beautiful seersucker fabric from Hobby Lobby. It was in their spring summer collection, and I picked that up. I made this dress specifically for those pictures of us on the beach, and really it turned out okay. The pictures look really nice, but overall I was kind of bummed out with how this dress fit me. Even how billowy it is right now, I took out 6 inches, at least 6 inches on each side of that dress, just to make it look like a little bit fitted, just so that it kind of went in a little bit like on the sides. And then I just took it out from all the way down to the hem. It was a lot of fabric. It was a lot of wasted fabric, honestly, which is kind of a bummer, because that fabric really was very pretty. It was easy to sew with. It behaved itself. And yeah, I don't know. That's why it ended up on this list. I finished that Toronto Day Dress in July of 2022. I made a size extra large, and that was just the wrong choice. Okay, moving on. This next one I have a picture of myself in, so I'll pop it up. It is a going home sweater from Ellie and Mac. Now, before I even get started, it has nothing to do with this pattern. This is a fun, neat going home sweater pattern from Ellie and Mac. But this one, why it ended up on my list was because of my fabric choices. Now, I've made this one relatively recently. I've actually made it for my fall and winter plans, and I just have not picked this shirt up again to wear. So I have put it on this list because of how I just don't wear it. Now, why do I not wear it? This shirt is made up primarily of double brushed poly. I love double brushed poly. It is so soft. It's so cozy. You see it in the store, and they have 1,000,001 beautiful prints for double brush poly. It pulls me in every single time I go to Joann's. However, I have curves. I definitely do. And double brushed poly loves to cling to curves, and that just makes me really, really self-conscious. So I made my normal size in Elliot Mac. I made a 2XL size in this shirt with 3XL sleeves, and still that shirt is just too clingy to me. So I'm not going to get rid of the shirt, you know, in case that one day I can fit into it. But what I have learned from this experience especially is that I really, if I'm going to use double brush poly, and I do have a lot of double brush poly in my stash, so I need to be using it. I could use it for Addie, but if I use it for myself, I really need to be sizing up, because my normal size in a double brush poly is just not going to be enough. I would go so far to say that double brush poly has negative ease. So you actually lose inches that you thought you would be able to fit into with your size. So if 2XL is my size in Ellie & Mac, which it is, I need to bump it up. I need to bump up a size so that I have some wiggle room, so that that double brush poly does not cling to places that I don't want it to cling. Okay, and then the last one, just real quick, this one is a fairly recent make. I made it in November. I made it for some work meetings. This is the Love Notion Sybil skirt. That landed, the other version landed on my loved list. This one's landing on my I didn't love it list because of the size that I made. It had nothing to do with the pattern. The pattern is amazing, so simple, wonderful instructions, and the fabric is actually really nice too. It's from Hobby Lobby. It's something like a Ponte knit, I think. I found it in their sale clearance section. Really nice fabric. This dress is just too big. So I put it on this list because I obviously don't love it right now, but I would like to revisit that skirt in 2023 and make some adjustments so that I can fit it and that I do love it. It's just too big on me. It likes to crawl around up my waist, up my front when I'm trying to wear it, and that's not gonna work for me. So we will try to make some adjustments to that Love Notion Sybil skirt in 2023. Okay, that is my list of all the things that I didn't love. It's really important to me, like I said, to look back and see what worked and what didn't work for me. Make some notes, just like that double brush poly. Like, that's a really huge stepping stone for me in fabric buying and pattern choice and size choices. Like, that's a huge lesson to be learned, and I can really chalk that one up to that I've learned something really useful out of looking back on my makes. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. Give this video a thumbs up if you like this kind of content, and subscribe to my channel if you have not done so already. I would love to welcome you into this sewing community. I will see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.